Hi guys, this is Taken57. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial showing you how to display the masking for objects. I'm going to be showing you how to import your model into 3D Studio Max using a script which I've developed specifically for displaying masking. I'm going to show you how to execute a script which will apply the masking to the object, and I'm also going to show you how to use a script to export the masks from the object into a file which could be later imported into your CE file. Basically, the objects which are masked are objects which will not render in game, and by applying masking to certain objects you can solve issues of clipping, whereby you have clothing objects above a body part and you find that the body part clips to the object. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to import the object into 3D Studio Max. So there's two options in which you can do. The first thing is I've written a script into X-Rey to generate the faces and the polygons required for the masking. This is slightly different from the normal export script. I haven't released this version of X-Rey as yet, but I may release it in future. So if you open X-Rey, if you go into settings, there's a setting that says export all faces. By default it will be listed as false. You set this value to true, and then thereafter whenever you export any objects from X-Rey, it will export it with the required polygons for masking. Please note though that this setting will break the meshes if you try to export these meshes into other 3D editors such as Mudbox, etc. So you only enable this to true if you need to export the objects for masking. Like I said, I haven't released this version of X-Rey as yet, so you won't see this option in settings for now. Alright, the second option you can use if you're not using X-Rey, or if you want to use 3D Studio Max directly, is you can run a script which I've written specifically for masking. The script is linked in the description below. Alright, so we're going to run the script first, and the script is called import WWE Taken57 for masking only. Alright, I'm going to use the bubble ray model for this example. As I stated before, this script should only be used if you want to display masking for an object. It should not be used if you want to do sculpting on the object, or if you want to do any type of modeling on the object, because it's going to import an extra number of faces or polygons. Alright, so we have the model loaded in 3D Studio Max. Now I'm going to run a script which is going to display the masking for the object. Alright, so I'm going to run the script called display masking for all objects. Alright, so this script basically looks at a list of masks that it needs to apply to the object which is loaded in 3D Studio Max. Your list of masks will list the faces which should not be rendered in game. So I've been working with Pozzum to try and build a function into his CE editor tool which will generate this list from your CE file. Okay, he's still working on it at the moment, so I've written a function into X-Packer to do this, just for the purpose of this tutorial, until Pozzum releases the function for his CE editor tool. So basically, under the utilities menu, you select the option that says extract masks from CE file, and it looks for your CE file, which is listed under bubble ray. Alright, once this function runs, it basically opens your CE file, looks at the list of all the masks that are listed in the CE file, and then generates a mask list file which is in plain text. If you open up this text file, you will notice that it has the object name as well as a list of masks that need to be applied to each face. The numbers that are listed here corresponds to a face or polygon in the object which needs to be masked. Alright, so I'm going to go back to 3D Studio Max and I'm going to open the CE mask list file. Alright, so now that the script is run, the masking has been applied to the object. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So if you look at object 1 of the model, which is the chest area, you'll notice that there is a shirt covering it at the moment. So I'm assuming that this area will be completely masked so as to not clip in game. So I'm just going to make this object see-through mostly, just to demonstrate what the masks look like. As I'm also going to lock this object so you can see what the masking looks like on the objects that are below it. So object 19 I'm going to lock. Alright, now if I select object 1 and I go into polygon, you'll see the areas that are highlighted in red are the areas which are masked, which should not be displayed in game. So you can see that everything under the shirt object has been masked except for the part where the sleeves are cut off. Alright, if you select another object such as the head object, you can do the same thing. If you look at the polygons, you'll see that the area that's under the collar is highlighted in red, so this is the area that will be masked in game and obviously will not be rendered in game. Alright, so that's basically how to display the masking of objects. Now I'm going to show you how to specify your own masks and export these into the game. Alright, so if we select the arm object, we select polygons. Say for example we want to highlight this area and we want to now apply an elbow pad to the model in game, and you don't want this area to be rendered. So I'm just going to do it roughly to select this area. Alright, and let's do the same on the other side. Okay, so now we have two objects with faces selected which we want to do masking for. You will normally apply this to all of the objects which are in the scene, and the script will export all of the masks for every single object in one go. So make sure you have your mask defined for all of the objects correctly before you run the script. Alright, so I'm going to run the script, and the script is called export masking for all objects. Okay, this will ask you for a location to store the CE mask list.txt file. I'm just going to call this demo so we can see the difference between this and the previous file. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so if you open this file up in Notepad, you'll notice that there's a list of masks displayed, and these masks will now need to be imported into game and converted into a CE file. So I'm currently working with Pozzum to try and help him to get the functionality to import this mask list file into his CE editor tool. So as soon as he's done with it, I'll record another tutorial showing you how to import this list into a CE editor tool. So for now, you can work on applying your mask to your models, and we will have a way in which you can apply this to your models and import this into game soon. All of the scripts that I've demonstrated in this tutorial is linked below, and if you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. Happy modding.